Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy So, and welcome back to the channel. Make sure you're hitting that like, comment, and subscribe button, and more importantly, turn on those notifications. That way you guys get notified when we drop hits like this. Football is back, and that means it's another season of OnlyFans, a Dolphins post-game show where Joel and I gave our instant reactions to every single Dolphins game. And for our newbies out there, it's going to be a lot of ups, a lot of downs, but we're sticking together throughout it. This is week one. Dolphins lose a tough game on the road to the Colts, and we're here to break it down. It's time to take a ride, y'all. Let's go. Yo, my phone is blowing up. A lot of messages. Some are a little extreme, some not as extreme, but damn it, dog, when you lose 33-8 on the road and you look terrible like the Dolphins did in week one, it's got people asking a lot of questions, right?
I mean, it's all warranted, Doug. When we do what we do,
Completely.
or we put ourselves out here supporting, our undying support for our team, that we think, hasn't really done anything to make us think that they're really going to be successful this season, and yet we were still behind them going into Indianapolis week one. And boy, we got a stinker for a football game. At least, I mean, the Colts. Shout out to the Colts. Great game on their part. They looked like they figured it out with Daniel Jones. But man, we looked absolutely terrible.
And in the worst way, right? Because like the things that we were expecting to be like, all right, well, this should be no problem coming off of our last year's momentum, right? The defensive line should be able to get some type of disruption, cause some chaos in the backfield. Those guys were held down completely. I think we had one sack total between the entire defense. And when when
Brad
we
Chubb, one
when
sack.
we when we talk about, don't worry, I'm gonna get to Brad Chubb later. But when we talked about it on the preview, we focused on the defensive line being this force that teams wouldn't be able to handle. And they look completely vanilla, dog. I don't know about you, man, but it's a big cause for concern for me.
Mm. Interesting that you went immediately to point out the defense. I understand why. I mean, we have a lot of money on that line, a lot invested in that line, so we expect a high return. But that was just a microcosm for the entirety of how the team played, bro. I mean, it was just really cupcake out there for the Dolphins, man. We couldn't hit, we couldn't wrap up on defense to stop guys. They were, bouncing off of tackles and getting extra yards. A lot of yak for the Colts. And then offensively, man, I mean, we had nothing going for us offensively, bro,
Yeah.
until that garbage time touchdown that we had in the fourth quarter.
I mean, let's just jump straight into it, right? We expected a lot of things out of Tua, right? Lead this offense, go out there and play it well against this defense that doesn't necessarily have a lot of playmakers on it. And when you go out there and have three turnovers, excuse me, in the first half, it's like, how are you even giving yourself a shot, right? Like, where's your improvement? Where have you leveled up, Tua? Because if this is it, right? And I'm not saying that this is going to be what happens the rest of the season. Hopefully, it's not. But what I'm saying is that if this is a snapshot, right, of what we can expect with Tua being quote unquote normal or at his worst, then it's really bad. 14 to 23, 114 yards, one touchdown at the end, right, which is pretty much garbage time, and two interceptions with the fumble loss. Took three sacks for 13 yards, 51.7 rating. I don't know what else can we do as fans, right, to give support to this guy when he continues to fail at the most basic of levels, right? And this was something that you had to come out and really show that momentum from what you guys carried over into the preseason. And it looked like we carried over all the bad stuff from preseason. Preseason, we saw the team get manhandled. We saw the team not getting a force. We saw the team giving up bad touchdowns, calling stupid penalty calls, and all of that happened today. All of it transpired today in this game. And of course, when you compound those things, you're gonna lose like we did 33-8 on the road, where we look like shit the complete game.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't look good for him, bro. I mean, to come out, we turn the ball over immediately, and then they're already up 10-zip early. So it's like, all right, we're down on the road. Like, let's get it going. All right, shake it off, shake it
Right.
off, big guy. Things happen, figure it out, and then another turnover. I think it was the fumble the second time around where he
Yep.
fumbled the ball.
Yep.
Um,
In the second possession.
yeah, man, we could never get anything going. We couldn't make a drive happen. There was no run game. We lost an offensive lineman early on in the game too. I
That
don't know
sucked.
if that had. I can't say that it had too much to do with the lack of production that we saw out there, but it doesn't help to lose people. He wasn't the only guy that went down. We lost a couple guys this game to injury. Darren Waller, who we thought was going to be available for this game, did not play in this game. Our new tight end. So they're missing a couple things, and then we don't have Tyreek or Waddle. Like they couldn't get anything going either because Tua didn't have anything to offer them. So you saw frustration on the sideline from Tyreek Hill, which I can understand that. I don't agree with everything he does, but I can see being frustrated. Coming out really like extremely flat in that first game.
And I think that comes from the top, right? And that you have to kind of point the finger at McDaniel to be like, how well did you prepare this football team? You had all season long to prepare for this one game, right? And this is how you look. This is how you run your offense. This is the plays that we're calling. Like, these things, right, start to become less and less acceptable the more egregious they get, right? And it's getting to the point where it's almost a detriment to how we can operate on offense because we saw the same vanilla type stuff. We didn't really see anything challenging. And I get it, Tua couldn't have too much time to stand in their pocket or whatever and throw, but at some point you got to make a play, you got to make the throw, you got to make the catch. And we didn't attack the Colts at all, right? When you tell me that you got, you know, 11 targets split between Waddle and Hill, that's way too little. You know what I mean? And Tua spread the ball around. He targeted Malik Washington 5 times. That's great. But you got to get your playmakers the ball if you're down 20-0, right? And you're technically still in that game. It's just a 3-touchdown game. But damn, if you can't get it going, bro. And nothing that Tua did or that McDaniels did called looked like it was going to work. And now it questions McDaniels even more because we knew coming into the season that he was going to be on the hot seat, right? He had to go out there and win big games, go out there and beat good teams, et cetera, et cetera. You come out this way completely flat, where it's literally an embarrassment of performance, right? You had 12 guys in the fucking huddle when we scored our touchdown and we're trying to get this extra point off. Like, those are things that, again, you can't, you blame the players because they're the ones executing it, right? But you look at where that stems from, and all of that is stemming from the head coach, dog, and he's responsible for this in the ugliest way possible.
I completely agree. We talked about this already. If you saw the preview last week, we talked about McDaniels being on the hot seat, and there's a lot riding for him and his career here. On these next few games, frankly, and he got out coached. So
Yeah, he did.
point blank, cut and dry. He got completely out coached. Look at the time of possession: 38 minutes, over 38 and a half minutes for the Colts, 21 minutes for the Dolphins. 11 catches between, or 11 targets between Tyreek and Waddle. Yeah. How are you supposed to do anything when you have the ball for a third of the game? You know what I mean? Like we weren't out there. We couldn't develop anything. We talked about another thing on the show last week, turnover battle. That's something that we always talk about. We got to win the turnover battle. We did not win this turnover battle. And guess what? We got destroyed this game. Those three, and it sucks because all three of those were on Tua. But we didn't have anything else. We didn't have anything else to offer. And then here's the only silver lining that I'm looking at here. Penalties. 3 penalties for 15 yards for the Dolphins. We said we
Yeah.
wanted to be clean and not have some stupid stuff. We still had the too many men on the field, the 12 man or whatever, but they at least looked a little bit better in that shape, in that sense. But yeah, man, there was just they were still in like training camp mode. They were not in regular season mode.
And I think that, again, that stems from the top of the leadership all the way down, right?
Yep.
Tua did a lot of talking this offseason about how he was going to be different, this, that, and the third. He's going to command the respect and the leadership and be different on the field. And at the end of the day, what we saw is the same old Tua, overthrowing his players, missing guys completely. being careless with the ball, being careless with how he moves in the pocket, all these things that he's quote unquote said he worked on. I have no trust in this guy moving forward. And it's literally warranted. And I'm sure that a lot of people would join me on that sentiment. But what it has to be right now moving forward, right? This game is a wash. It's like who's playing well, who's not playing well. Forget about the name, forget about the draft status, forget about the money, how much you're getting paid. Who's playing well, who's not playing well. Because if there's one thing McDaniels cannot afford is to continue to play bad and risk losing games. Because now we got a home game against New England, and New England just played their ass off against Las Vegas. So they're going to come down here looking for a victory, knowing how important it is to not start the season 0-2. Same boat that we're going to be in, knowing damn well how important it is to not start the season 0-2, not only for playoff implications, but also because you're facing a division opponent. This is not the way that the season was supposed to start.
Yeah.
I'm sure this is not the way that these guys envisioned it, and something has to change. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if something happened drastically between now and Tuesday. And I'm not saying that Mike McDaniel is going to get fired. I'm not saying that. But if it happened, I'd be like, okay, yeah, you can't tolerate this anymore. You can't tolerate this.
You can't. No, we definitely can't. But the fact that it is week 1 of the season, I think that there's the slack there. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, all right, you're clearly still not in regular season mode. You do have this week to figure it out. But like you said, it's right now. We have some of the most important games early on in our season because we're playing against division opponents and we don't look good right now, bro. And I don't know if you saw the games around the league, but the Jets lost barely lost to the Steelers. That was a really good game that came down on the wire there. And then we know what the Bills are going to do most likely. And then the Patriots. I didn't see the Patriots. Did they win today?
They lost. They lost against Las Vegas, but they hung in there and they played well. And Drake made, they scored a touchdown earlier than we did. So moved the ball, got first down.
We're looking like the worst team in the AFC East once again. One thing I want to look at too. So we've been ragging on the offense. I know we started on defense. You started on the defensive line. I want to go back to defense overall, bro. Rushing yards. The Colts put up 156 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns on us, bro.
Bro, I'm just gonna drop these 2 stats on you. Jordan Brooks and Tyrell Dobson had 27 total tackles between them.
Crazy.
That's how busy those guys were. Now they only each had 6 and 5 respectively solo tackles, but that's how busy they were.
Yeah, they were
that's
involved.
How much that you're involved because we can't do the tackling one-on-one. We got to do the gang tackle. It has to be 2+2-3 guys to get a guy down. And one thing again, you mentioned it. I started the season on it. The defensive line needed to be the best thing that we had, and it was terrible. It got pushed back all game long. They weren't able to create any type of pressure on Daniel Jones. He had all day to throw back there. And every time that they wanted a first down on a 3rd and short, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, they knew that they could run the ball. We couldn't. We were doing little flats and shit like that. These guys are running the ball. Just lets you know where we're at. Because even the guy that we got and drafted to do shit like that for us, which is Ollie Gordon, 2 carries, 4 yards.
I mean, we got to get
was a first down.
We got to just be. I mean, look at Devon Achane. He had 7 carries, 55 yards. He had 1 big run for 26 yards, and it's just we just didn't have possession, bro. We didn't have the ball. We couldn't get anything going. So I really can't blame those guys for their lack of production. But yeah, the defense. Going back to it, Daniel Jones had a day, 22 for 29, 272, and a touchdown. We only got sacked once. Again, Brad Chubb was the one that was involved there for that sack. You wanted to say something about him earlier?
The thing about Chubb is like,
is he behind you?
No, he's not behind me. I had to look at something. But with Chubb, right, this is the shit that I'm talking about. When things are going bad, things are going very bad. And it looks like this is what's going to happen the rest of the season. If my man tackles somebody that has nothing to do with the play, just goes up there and completely tackles this offensive lineman who has nothing to do, nowhere near the ball. Bro. He's not like close to the ball carrier. Look at that. And he's out there trying to Superman a fucking. Come on, dog. Come on, dog. Like those are things that I'm like, bro, you can't be this defense. You can't be one of the guys earning money and playing that bad. I didn't even have time to look up all the bad shit that Tua did today. right? And we would have been here for 45 minutes just talking about all the missed throws, the missed targets, the you know. Thankfully, he was able to slide today on the few times that he was able to escape the pocket. But he played really bad, bro. Tyreek Hill
Yeah,
did not look good. The
yeah.
offensive line did not look good. The defensive line did not look good.
The
It
play
was just
calling didn't look great.
it did not look good. You cannot come into a season, Joel, this unprepared and not have consequences.
Yeah.
Sorry. I
Oh,
don't know if that means fire somebody, demote somebody, change up the defense, change up the offense, the rotation, whatever. But something has to change today.
I'm gonna
Today.
say I'm gonna say the next 5 games.
Oof.
I think things need to change. I think that obviously they're bought in on this, so they're gonna go, okay, we got to tweak what we have, and then we got division games, we got some big games here coming up, primetime games as well. If things don't at least get better, competitive. I mean, again, if the Dolphins lost this game by a field goal, if this was 33-30,
Right.
it was a competitive game. Maybe Tua throws a pick. Maybe he has a fumble, but he has 260 yards passing. He has two touchdowns in the air. Tyreek had one. Waddle had one. All right. You know what? We used everybody. We got involved, but that wasn't the case here.
Yeah.
And at the end, that last touchdown, the only touchdown that we got, that was a big boy play by Achan.
Yeah.
That he caught the ball, swang like around, and then truck stick two guys and bulldoze his way into the end zone. Had it not been for that, like Tua doesn't get a touchdown. He doesn't even
No.
get that. So that's more a chance touchdown than it is Tua's. He bailed him
Yeah.
out there. So yeah, things need to change. I think the next 5 weeks are going to be crucial. I think if we go 0-5 over the next 5 weeks and we finish 0-6, I think that it's a fire sale. McDaniels is gone, Tua's gone, Tyreek's gone. Bye, blow it up, start it all over.
As much as I would want to agree with you, Joel, right now, I think that realistically, we're at a point where it's not going to be 5 weeks, man. It's not going to be 5 weeks. Look at the decision that we saw in the fourth quarter. About 2 minutes left, 3 minutes left, and some change. They pull Tua and they bring in Zach Wilson.
What's wrong with that? What are you?
I'm just
Which, by
saying,
the way, Zach Wilson looked garbage. I was saying he
garbage.
looked serviceable for a backup. If Tua, whatever, he looked horrible in the last 2 minutes.
Here's what's significant about that, Joel, right? And we can wrap up the show with this before we end up with the Patriots. Here's why this is significant. If it was a thing where it was like, you know what, things are going well, but we're just missing that little click. It's off by like 1 degree. It's one step. It's one. And if things were that tight, then I think they would have left Tua in there to continue to work on it and get the reps. The fact that they brought in Zach Wilson said, yo, this shit, nothing is working. Nothing is working. Put the game to rest. And you put in Zach Wilson because we knew that he wasn't going to do anything, right? So that's why I'm like, yeah, it's a troubling sign to be like, yeah, we're going to give up games like this where we know nothing is working and immediately the game plan is going to be bring in the backups.
Bro, this is how bad everything was going for us that we scored that touchdown, right? We're down 30-8 at that point, and we go for an onside kick with like 6 minutes left. And shout out to our kicker, whoever it was that hit the onside. That was one of the most brilliantly executed onside kicks I've ever seen in my life. And we had a chance to recover that ball, and we didn't. We didn't have the right hands team out there, and that's it. Like they ended up getting the field position. I think they put up the last field goal. It was already a wrap. But yeah, dude. I mean, I think the counter argument there is the fact that Tua is so injury prone, and it's like, dude, we're out of this game. There's no way we're coming back. Just throw Zach in there. Well, what are we going to prove with Tua in there to finish out what reps? You know what I mean?
Hey.
So, but that's it. But anyways, on to next week, Doug.
On to next week.
Home opener.
Home opener against the Patriots. 1:00 kickoff. Dolphins right now are favored by 2.5 points. That's wild to me. If anything, this game should be like close to a pick 'em. But whatever. I guess New England's that much worse than us, but we'll find out, right? Next Sunday, we'll find out, and we'll be here to bring you the post-game show. OnlyFans, man, this is where we air our grievances for our new people. Thanks for rocking with us. It's not always pretty. When the games are good and we win, trust me, it's a great episode, but sometimes we got to go through these in the mud and find out what we really know about this team and what we can expect, man. Any last words?
Nah, man, we're here for it. You know what I mean? We still got fantasy, so good luck to everybody out there. I know we got a lot of fans that
Yeah,
are fantasy football managers and stuff. So I hope your fantasy teams are at least picking up the slack where the Dolphins are dropping it.
Give it something. Give it something, y'all. We got a long way to go. We're going to keep bringing you these episodes every single post game. So make sure you're rocking with us throughout the entire Dolphin season. For Joel, it's your boy So. Till next time, peace.